Alright everyone, so I've seen Sinners, and this is the new vampire horror movie from Ryan Coogler and starring Michael B. Jordan, and this is basically a period piece set within the 1920s, because especially for how it is set, especially with the plot with vampires being in the mix, and for what I can say, this movie rules, because it's especially from the cinematography and the story and the plot itself, and trust me, and also this will be a spoiler-free review, go over my thoughts, especially I have a lot of positive things to say about this movie and what its atmosphere and what achievement this is set in, because I think that this movie took it to a whole new level in filmmaking, and so much more to discuss right here. And so if you're new, then be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss on any future videos, including movie reviews and more stuff like that. But now let's dive into it right now. And now I'm going to start off by saying that when it was announced that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan were going to collaborate, especially for a vampire horror movie, these two work great together, especially if you look at their past work, especially from Creed to Black Panther, and because especially Michael B. Jordan is like a great actor, he can really pull off anything, because especially with going into Sinners, this is a period piece about vampires, because there's more than one Michael B. Jordan in this movie, and especially for how the way the story is set up, it really sinks you in to really want to get to know the story and the atmosphere of what this film is trying to achieve. You can really tell that they really put their hard-working tears into crafting this movie brilliantly, because especially because I think this movie was made for the big screen, because especially with the premise of this movie, of course, with the two twins played by Michael B. Jordan, and that they have to go back to their hometown, which is the Mississippi, take down the evil that they thought they left behind from their childhood, and to basically face it. And that's what I really liked about how the story is clearly set up, because especially as I like period piece movies, the type of filmmaking that Ryan Coogler was trying to achieve while making this movie, because especially for the way that this atmosphere and this world, it kind of it really accentuates for what the storytelling is presenting itself to the audience. And from what I can tell, this movie is great, and I had a really good time with it, because especially from beginning to end, it really tells you what sort of the main plot is from the beginning, middle, and end, for how the movie opens, and especially for how it ends. It is really a masterful piece of filmmaking, and especially for what it is crafting, because and from what we could tell, this movie was clearly filmed for IMAX, because especially I think Ryan Coogler was definitely trying to go into what goes into making a movie, because especially with the Sinners, it is my most anticipated movie going into it, and this really achieves everything. And I can confidently believe that this movie is a love letter to why we love going to the movies. It sends that message as to why we go for the movie-going experience, and this movie captures all of that. I can 100% confirm on that. But just with the elements and the story, especially with the vampires itself and the horror aspect, and the kind of esque it grounds upon, and trust me, there's multiple scares, so many thrills, and especially with Michael B. Jordan taking on so many vampires, and just to have that type of scary element, it is truly fascinating to me for the way that they were able to pull this off, and especially with the framing aspect, and with the way how the film looks and feels. It truly the sense of why we love older movies like from Christopher Nolan or Martin Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino, but along with Ryan Coogler, he just took it to another level with his filmmaking skills and the aspects of what goes into making a motion picture. For what I can tell, based on story elements, especially from the plot and how it progresses, it really does well to keep you on the edge of your toes, to figure out for how the story is gonna be resolved, especially for what the end product was, and that's what I can pretty much tell, especially from like, the final hour. Wow, it is truly a masterpiece, and it's especially with oh man, like it really puts Michael B. Jordan's biceps to work. That I can tell you, but I can definitely think audiences should definitely go out and see this movie, especially if you love filmmaking, especially if you're a fan of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan for what they can craft together, especially as these two love making movies, and this movie is the perfect message for that aspect. And this is a really great piece of storytelling, because especially with the main antagonist to the actual vampires, what their powers are, to how their story is told from a basic story standpoint, and I think we learn more about them, and especially like I think there's like tons of things from this movie marks it as art. I call it, I don't know if I can call it absolute cinema, and yeah, that's why you call it that as well. But anyways, but I can definitely tell I really enjoyed for what they put into this movie, especially to make movie fans proud, and I can tell from the people behind the scenes that like they love making movies, and that's what this movie perfectly ascends upon. And even with the twins thing with Michael B. Jordan's character, it really achieves well, because we've seen like those types of movies with two versions of the same character played by the same actor, and especially for what that was able to pull off, it was brilliant. Even with how these two were interacting, and we can tell Michael B. Jordan really put a lot into his character, especially with the aspects of how we're supposed to connect with this character, and like how the past is really brought upon them, or in that matter. There are brilliant performances, especially from Haley Steinfeld, the two Michael B. Jordans, and also other people who did a fantastic job, and I think there's like multiple awards coming their way for this movie, especially for Ryan Coogler, and I hope that he wins an Oscar for this movie. But I'm pretty sure sometime down the line this movie will go into award season, and basically this movie achieves a lot, especially like we don't get movies like this very often. Like we only got these like once in a while from like from directors that they know what they're doing to craft a brilliant masterpiece, a perfect movie, and that's what this film perfectly represents. From what I believe, there are so many elements and aspects in this movie that will definitely be looked upon years down the line, and if you feel like why this movie was a brilliant masterpiece and brilliant work from Coogler. Why we can really tell like he loves making movies, and why he chose to display this, not just like a normal movie, but this movie has so much craft, it has so much great work with Ryan Coogler that like definitely puts his work to good use, because especially because they filmed it I think with IMAX cameras, and that's why we see like tons of images and the grounding aspect. Also, for what Michael B. Jordan pulls off in this movie, it is truly brilliant, because especially from his performance, and I think it is definitely his best work, especially coming off the heels of Creed and Black Panther. But because I think everyone should definitely go out and see this movie, even though it's an original idea from Ryan Coogler, and but people like don't want these type of things. But people like go out and see this movie. This movie has to win, and I definitely enjoyed my time. I definitely would recommend this to anyone who is a passionate moviegoer, or like a fan that like loves movies, especially some of them period pieces in the 1920s. This movie is a definite winner, and yeah, it's the reason why I am a movie fan. This is why I love talking about movies. This movie is perfect craftsmanship for what filmmaking is achieved, and that's what this movie perfectly explains. Because especially, and although like towards the end with this world that is perfectly established, and I think that they could do more out of this. And seeing Michael B. Jordan taking on vampires and putting his skills to work, and just to be able to cooperate with the choices that his character goes through, and makes all type of these decisions, and truly makes this film great, and why it is perfectly achieved in this way. I had a perfectly great time checking out Sinners, and I think this is the perfect movie that we should experience in the theater right now. I truly recommend Sinners, especially if you love Ryan Coogler for what he has made over the past couple years, and especially if you love his work and Michael B. Jordan's work as well. This is the film for you. And wow, there's so much I want to gush about for hours. I might have to see it again just to dissect it all in to get my full thoughts out. But I think this movie should be seen in all formats: IMAX, Dolby, whatever you could think of. And come back to me later. It achieves everything, and like storytelling, the framing, and especially in filmmaking, and all those types of categories of what goes into making a great movie, and this movie achieves all of that. So yeah, bravo to everyone involved, and I think everyone should definitely go out and see this movie as well. But that's gonna do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments below, and what your thoughts on Sinners, if you've seen the movie or you're planning on seeing it. Just let me know in the comments below, and give your rating between 1 out of 10. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the notifications about future videos. Also follow all my social media. It's all linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all next video. Peace.